Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo 7. In today's video, we're going to be talking about when to race smart and when to fight for a position. I think it's come up so many times in streams. I think it's time that we try and show you some good examples. And we've got two very good different races here to show you. Now, if you do enjoy this video, if you find it helpful, do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comment section what you think about this video. So yeah, I just wanted to do this video because we had a few comments saying like, why are you fighting that, or why are you doing this? And I wanted to show you reasons why we're going to do stuff. So we're at the Red Bull Ring in Group 3, two different races, two different groups of drivers that we're racing against. In this one, we're starting from P13. I'm in the Nissan GTR for these races, but to let you know, since this race, I have tried out the Genesis, and that Genesis is extremely overpowered for this race. So I really advise you get in the Genesis and get used to that car. It's not as good on tyres, but it is incredible for pace. The medium tyres are almost as quick as the GTR on soft tyres. It's unbelievable. So yeah, give it a try. You won't be disappointed, as we've moved ourselves up a position there on the inside, going on the inside of that Nissan GTR, and now we're going to have a little look into the braking zone. Now, one good thing about the Nissan GTR is its ability to pit extremely early, as we nearly get clobbered there by a car going off the track, but that's up to P11 anyway. But yeah, this car can pit extremely early when it comes to strategy, and that is what I'm going to do in this race now. Now, the temperatures weren't actually that low in this combination. You do have to factor that in when you pit. Always check the temperatures at the start of the race. The higher the temperature, the more your tyres are going to wear. So factor that in every single race. Always check out the temperatures. But we're going to go into the pits here now and go for an early stop. You can see I'm going down to second gear. Keep it nice and tight so that we don't get in anyone's way. And into the pit lane. And going to take our pits to change onto the soft tyre. Now, this is a very risky strategy. It can't always go to plan, but a lot of the time, if you know you've got a field of drivers that we know in this race in general, I think we're a bit quicker than some of the drivers in front of us. So it could work out, because now I've got a lovely amount of clean air, and you can see coming over lap 2, there's one other driver that's gone in the pits there, P Walker. I think that's Momo's alternative account, I believe. So he's in the pits there, and now we're going to go up the main straight here, and we're going to take that position. So there's one position gained through the early stop, and now we're going to go on to lap 3, and we've got another group of drivers there going in on lap 3 for that pit stop from the mediums onto the soft tyres. And you can see as we're coming out here, you can see that I think it's the leader actually. No, it's not the leader. It's the leader's actually still in the race there. Droopy's still not pitted, but we've got a driver from a little bit further up the field who's pitted there, and he's come out on P10, and we're up to P11. So we're skipping a little bit further on to lap 5, and you can see we've gained a few more positions. We're up to P8, and we're now going to go for a move on P7 as we're trying to get ourselves forward. Now, one bit of advice is always don't be too aggressive on your first few laps with your tyres. If you're going for a really long stint like I am here on the soft compound, it's a really good idea not to be overly aggressive with your tyres on the first 2 to 3 laps. Just wear them in slowly, because if you really push like crazy, they really wear out towards the end of the stint. So yeah, just try and take it nice and calm on the first few laps. I know you've got to get that undercut done, and you do need to do some reasonable lap times, but just be careful about sliding the car around. Try and keep it smooth, because your tyres will thank you towards the end of the race. So you can see here we're on a purple lap this time, going up to the last few corners. We've got a car with a penalty in front of us, and we've got, you can see there, the leader has pitted there on the end of lap 4, so he's going to come out in front of us there. You can see him about 5 or 6 seconds up the road. So we're not racing that car. That car is gone. We're not going to try and push like crazy to catch that car, because it's not going to happen. He is so far ahead. This battle now is all about P2, because we can see that the gap to P1 now in this race, who hasn't pitted, is around 22.5 seconds, and that is basically the pit lane loss. So in theory, if we can gain a little bit or keep it about the same, when we go over the line here and come out, he goes in the pits, we're going to come out ahead, which you can see we've managed to do, and put myself into P2. Now, the driver that's just pitted has come out onto the soft tyres at the end of at the start of lap 7, so he's going to have immense tyres, really good tyres, especially on that BMW, because the BMW is good on tyres as well. So he's going to have amazing tyre wear. But you can see that we've got a little bit of a spaced out field behind us. We've got a few cars behind us, but in terms of drivers behind us, the car that I'm more worried about is Thunders, because I know how quick Thunders is at this combination. So that's a car that I'm concentrating on really here. I'm going to defend this position for everything that I've got, because I honestly believe that at this point I can hold on to a P2 in this race. So if I believe I can hold on to a P2, I will fight it. If I think that we're under threat from other drivers, then you might be a bit more advisable to play it smart. But in this race here, I think we can hold on to a P2 and keep this on the track to the end. So I'm going to fight this all the way to the end and try and hold on. Now, I did notice in the stream when we did this race live, a couple of people, or 1 or 2 people, said something about why are you defending it, you should just let him pass. But that is not what racing is. Racing is about making your strategies work and playing it smart as well. You've got to know when you can fight it and when you can play it smart. In this race at the moment, to me, it seems like this is a good idea to fight this and try and hold on to a P2. So we're going to go over the line here to start lap 8, and you can see we've got a nice gap there, 3 attempts into this corner. He's not going to be able to challenge us for this braking zone, so I don't really need to go defensive. But one thing I did notice from that BMW was he was really aggressive into the braking zones, and then he was just losing out on the exits. So he wasn't really playing it smart for the overtake. He was getting too close, like, onto the braking phase, and instead of like trying to widen the line and get a really strong exit from the corner for the next corner and like capitalize there, he was focusing on like the then and now moment instead of focusing on 2 or 3 corners later, which is how you're going to get moved on, especially when you've got tires. He's on tires that are like 5 laps newer than mine, or even that might be 6 laps, I think it is 6 or 5 laps newer than mine. So he should be able to really make this move work if he just plays it smart. But at the moment, defending well, I'm holding the inside. I'm going to stay to the left here now because I know then I've got the inside into this corner. We're not going to give this position up, so brake early, make sure we slow it down, hold the apex, and you can see he tries to push his way through there. A little bit of a hit. I think he's getting a little bit impatient. Could have been a bit of a mistake, but luckily backed out of it once he hit me. Probably realised that he can't just push his way through there, and now we're still in that P2 position as he has a little bit of a moment on the curb there. And you can actually see on the track map, looking at the field, you can see that we've only got P3 and P4 and P5, I think it is, behind us at the moment. So we don't really need to be worrying too much about how hard we fight this, because I think we can really battle this out right to the end. And that's what I'm going to do in this race. I'm going to fight this for everything to try and hold on to this P2. Whether it loses us time overall, it doesn't matter, because we're not going to win the race. It's all about P2 now, this battle. So again, through turn 1, good solid exit, and you can see we've actually got quite a strong exit there. We shouldn't really need to go defensive now into the braking zone at the end of the straight. So you can see I'm not going to go defensive because I can see that the gap's around 2 attempts. For him to send it from there, it'd be very risky, and he's not going to do that. He's going to play a little bit smarter this time and try and get a better exit from this corner. But again, good exit from this corner with the tyres wearing out as they are. The Nissan GTR is so strong in these conditions, and we're going to skip ahead now to lap 11. We've managed to hold him off right the way up to lap 11, and you can actually see now, looking at the track map, you can actually see, look at that, we're only fighting for the podium. All the other cars are too far behind, so we've definitely made the right call in battling this right to the end. And you can see this is turning into a very close battle because he's got so much better tyres than I have. However, we're not going to give it up, because there's no point just letting him through, because if he does get through, we're still going to get P3. We might as well fight this, and at worst case scenario, we're going to get P3. The other cars are too far behind, they're not going to catch us up. So in this circumstance, it makes sense to battle this. If, for example, we had really fast drivers 1 to 2 seconds behind the car behind me now, like really quick drivers, it would probably make more sense to let them drivers go. And we're going to show you examples of that in the next race. But in this race, it's all about holding on to the position and fight it for everything you've got, because you've got nothing to lose. And it really does make me laugh when you hear people say, why don't you just give that position up? Because why would you? It's a race. This is what racing is about. It's about defending and holding on to the positions and trying to make strategies work. And at the moment, this strategy is working really well as we work our way up the main straight now and onto the penultimate lap. And again, here you can see as he's working his way up the straight, he's probably not going to be close enough for me to really go too defensive into the braking zone. So you can see he has a little look there, but I know that he's not going to send that because he's over 2 attempts back at the point of the braking. It'd be very risky, and now I can just focus on getting that clean exit from technically turn 2 is, no, technically turn 3 on the track, because they count the corner on the straight as a corner. But again, we're going into turn 4 now, and again, he's a little bit too far back. He's going to try and widen the line. You can see he's really widening that line, and he's not really made that work, though. We've managed to get a good strong exit and give that gap back up to over 3 attempts. So again, it's going to be coming down to the last lap by the looks of this. We just got to try and hold on, and as you can see on the replay camera, it's incredibly close. And you could see also on the telemetry that rear left tyre was really starting to fade at this point of the race. But at the moment through here, you can see holding that BMW off. What helps me is the BMW is not the quickest car as well, and that's another factor in why we're not going to give this position up. It's quick over a lap, but it's not particularly quick on acceleration or top speed. Nissan GTR should be able to hold this car off. And again, you can see through the final corner, he's incredibly close, but we've just got that corner done pretty well. We're going to go defensive for this corner now, though, because he's very, very close. So we're going to hold that inside line and make sure that we don't give him the inside into this corner. So now all we've got to do is just brake as late as we can and try and hit that apex, which we do up to third gear and a smooth exit. And you can actually see he's actually bottle jobbed it behind us. So a little bit of a mistake from P3, and that is a podium from a podium and a P2 for myself. So it was 100% the correct decision to fight that position, and we've got quite a nice gap there. You can see behind P3 there's a decent gap as well, so it was the right call to do what we did there, and we take a P2 in that one. But what I want to show you is now when to race smart and how different circumstances affect things. So you can see in this lobby we've got an incredibly stacked lobby. We've got Damien, Josetti, Mohammed, Kauster. The list goes on of the fast drivers. We've actually got fast drivers starting from the front of the field as well. Incredibly fast drivers starting at the front. So this is going to show you the opposite end of that scale. When you want to race a little bit more smart, race it a bit more clever, and try and get a position that is probably ahead of where you should have finished. But again, in this race, I am going to go for that early pit stop to keep it pretty similar to that previous race. So now we're obviously starting from P8, a bit different from the last race. We started from P12, but this lobby is a lot more competitive. As Antonio there, letting everyone go through because he probably wants to have a little bit of fun from the back. Antonio is incredibly quick on this game, so yeah, he's going to go for a bit of fun from the back of the field as we work our way up into the braking zones. And you can see at the moment it's all nice and smooth. We're keeping it nice and calm. You can see a little bit of side-by-side action at the front. You can see on the replay camera on the bottom right. And a little bit of smoke kicking up. It looks like someone might have just tapped someone in the back there. But at the moment, it's all good. We're all driving through the corners without too much problems. And we're going to go in the pits on this lap again, like we did before. It was a little bit higher temperatures, I think, in this race. So I had to be a little bit careful with the tyres, obviously going for the 112 stint. It's not optimal. Don't think that's the optimal way to do this race. The optimal way to do it is probably with the GTR. I would say 4.9, 4 medium, 9 softs. You can get away with 3.10 pretty easily with this car as well. But for the sake of getting the undercut and getting past drivers, sometimes pitting earlier can really work because you avoid fighting as well. If you can avoid fights and play it sensible, you can sometimes just gain positions by running consistent lap time. So again, we're out the pits, we're into clean air, and again on the end of lap 2, start of lap 3, you can see we're going over into turn 1. You can see no one's pitted again, so we've managed to gain a position on Thunders. He's pitted actually, so we've got a bit of a jump on Thunders, and again we're going to go to the end of lap 3, start of lap 4. And again, we're coming through turn 1, and you can see a few more drivers. Josetti's in the pits this time, so we've got 2 lap fresher tyres than Josetti. Sorry, he's got 2 lap fresher tyres than me, so I've got 2 lap older tyres than Josetti, and then people that have just pitted there. So we're going to have to factor that in, and remember, they are very quick drivers. So these are the type of races where sometimes racing smart is going to be of benefit. And again, you can see by the time we come to lap 5, we have the leader out of the pits, and he has now got the soft tyres on with 3 lap fresher tyres than me. So again, no point trying to send it and be all aggressive and try and, you know, get a position from this driver. The best thing to do is get in the slipstream of that Genesis and just try and use the pace of that car to help my race for a couple of laps, because that's all I can do. I cannot compete with that Genesis on fresh tyres. That car is unbelievably quick. So again, you can see by lap 7, he's started to pull away a bit now. He's 1 second ahead, and now we've got P3, a very quick driver as well, coming through. He started ahead of us, I think, on the grid. He actually started a few positions ahead. So now it's about racing smart and not fighting these people because they've got fresher tyres than me. And this is when it makes sense, because if you look at the field here, we've got Josetti, Mohammed, Kauster, Damien, very, very quick drivers behind us. And if we fight positions and lose 2 to 3 seconds, that means they're all going to be coming up behind and fighting us, and we're just going to probably end up not even in the top 10. So for this race, this is a different approach. It's about racing smart, racing clever, and trying to just get as much maximum pace out of the car as possible on lap time. It's all about lap time, really. So letting cars go, don't fight them. Again, you're going to see here what we're going to do now. Instead of fighting this position, I'm going to stay to the left-hand side of the track, make it as clear as day that I'm not going to fight this position. I want to let him go through, and I'm going to stick to the left. I want to keep my line so that I can get a good exit from this corner, though. So I'm going to stay to the left, brake a little bit earlier, tuck in behind the Genesis, and pick a little bit of slipstream up, which will help my speed down this straight now. So again, racing smart, racing sensible. No point fighting that car. It's got much fresher tyres. That car on fresher tyres it's not, if the GTR just can't compete with it. It's too quick, the Genesis. So as we found out today, so into the braking zone, try and keep our exits as strong as possible. The tyres are fading now. You can see on the telemetry there, the tyre grip is starting to fade off, so we're going to be losing a little bit of pace. But now we've got Josetti behind us as well, so another very, very quick drive, and we know his tyres are 2 laps fresher also, so he's going to be on us fairly quickly as we go on to these next few laps. And again, you can see just trying to hang on as much as I can to that Genesis at this point. Every little bit of slipstream that I can get off that car to help my overall lap time is good. It all helps out at the end, even if it's a tenth, 2 tenths, whatever it is, it's going to help me out towards the end. So again, keep it smooth through here, onto the final corner and over the line for another reasonable lap there. We're obviously going to lose a little bit of time on this lap. You can see it's probably going to be in the 29s because we let him through. But if we would have fought that position of, you know, battled it, we could have been in the 30s. So again, racing smart is going to help us out. So again, you can see now we've got Josetti on lap 12 coming up right behind us. And again, I know it's only 2 laps to go, but I could fight this position. But the risk is, if we fight this position, we've got Damien, Kauster, and Mohammed and Antonio all following up behind there. And they could really be honest, because look at our rear left tyre. It makes no sense to fight from someone like Josetti that's going to get me anyway. He's got 2 lap fresher tyres. He knows how to overtake. He knows how to play it smart. He knows how to get the exits. And it'd be a pointless battle trying to fight that. So what I'm going to do again is get into that slipstream and just use the benefit of it and try and help my overall race time rather than fight it and lose time. So you can see there Damien 2 seconds behind us, but he's got much fresher tyres and he's in a much quicker car. The Genesis is incredible. So again, you can see the rear left is actually on the verge of completely dying. Now, one good thing, like I said, about the GTR is even when that rear left tyre does die, you still have a little bit of grip, especially on the soft tyres. It's something that I do think that needs to be looked at by PD, maybe so that we go back to the almost puncture situation. I kind of liked it when your tyres completely went, that your car was undrivable. It made it a little bit more interesting in my view. But yeah, you can see as we skip to lap 13 now, we managed to stay in the slipstream to Josetti for a while, and this racing it smart has kept us in P4. And you can see that Damien only 2 tenths behind us, and if we would have battled any of them battles with the cars ahead of me, we would have lost that position and possibly 2 other positions, because there's a few cars right behind Damien as well. So it really does go to show you, race smart and you can get better positions in races, and hopefully this video will help some of you out with that. Let me know in the comment section if this video has helped you out. We're planning on doing a lot more videos like this to try and give you some tips to improve your DR and stuff like that. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and I'll be back with more in the future. Thanks again for watching, everyone.